In this video, I'm going to share with you my top tips for teaching your horse to back up well. When backing up well, a horse should go backwards, willingly, with his head down, taking long marching steps backwards and staying in a straight line. And he should do this from very little pressure from the handler. Top tip number 1. Before teaching your horse to back up, perfect the walk-halt transition. Teach your horse to stand from your voice command. I use and stand. I like a punchy sounding finish, so like the halt itself, it has a clear end and it doesn't just drift on. Also, teach your horse to stand square. Top tip number 2. Ask your horse to lower his head before you back up. I do this through pole pressure and release. You can also use this during the backing up if he raises his head halfway through. Top tip number 3. If using a bridle, make sure you have even pressure on both sides of the bit. Hold your lunge rope like this if necessary. Top tip number 4 is to get your positioning right. So first of all, make sure that your shoulders and your hips are perpendicular to his spine. Look towards the opposite hip. This seems to help keep the horse straight. And also make sure that your rope hand is on a line straight towards the sternum, parallel to the spine. So your rope hand is going towards the sternum. It's not going off to one side or the other. Top tip number 5 is to be consistent with your command. I use arty back. Arty, back, 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 back. Good boy. What? Top tip number 6. If you're going to use a stick to tap his legs, to encourage him to step back with a particular limb, make sure you get your timing right. Only tap a limb just as it's about to lift up off the ground. If you tap a limb in a moment when he can't lift his leg, then this is only going to cause upset and confusion. Head down. Arty. Back. Back, 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 back. Top tip number 7. Only stop your horse from backing up when you decide, not when he decides. If you repeatedly ask him to back up and then give up, you're just teaching him to ignore your requests. So to start, only ask for an achievable number of steps. That might be 1 or 2. Then build up from there as his understanding increases. Top tip number 8. Have a good number of walk steps between each repetition of backing up. Top tip number 9. Once your horse understands you and willingly steps back, then you can focus on the quality of steps, impulsion, posture and straightness. Use the pole pressure and release head down command to keep his head lowered. For straightness, if your horse goes off to one side, try swapping sides. And if he goes off to the other side, then it's usually a handler issue. If your horse is consistently going off to one side, you can use a fence line or poles to help keep him straight. But I prefer to take ownership of the curved line. And what I mean by that is, why not teach your horse to back up in a curve, say half a 20-metre circle, both to the left and to the right. Once you can make your horse back up on a curve, you'll be able to back him up in a straight line. I hope this helps.